Hi everybody, good morning and grace and peace to you all from a beautiful sunny North Lincolnshire. I'm actually speaking to you today from my dining room because I want to speak today about realms. We talked yesterday about routine and the fact that routine is our friend, especially when we're on top of each other in the context of our home. And I want to talk about the fact that realms need boundaries. When I speak about realms, what do I mean? I'm talking about the spaces in your home. So I don't know what your home's like, but we have a living room, dining room. We're blessed with a conservatory here. I'm very blessed to have my own little office and different bedrooms. We have 4 adults living here at the moment. So without an understanding of boundary, all of those spaces can bleed into one. And we can end up doing work in spaces that we want to rest in, and we can end up resting in spaces where we want to work. And especially if you've got young children and you're doing schoolwork with them, all of that can sort of bleed together. So one of the challenges is not allowing our spaces to bleed into one lump. Then the realms, the boundaries become, I think, confused. And also that can affect how we approach those spaces. In a sense, you've already experienced this with technology. Technology has literally blurred the boundaries of our spaces. So things that we would never have maybe thought about in terms of what technology can do, we now have to think about. So because of my smartphone, literally every room can be an entertainment zone. And yet in the past, one room would have been maybe reserved for that. So technology has already blurred those boundaries in spaces. When you're working from home, it's so important to protect those spaces and legitimize them for certain use at certain times, so that then they can take on a power and an authenticity and an authority. But that doesn't necessarily mean what they will become continuously. So let me give you an example. It may be, for example, most of us are sharing in shared spaces. So we don't have the luxury of a children's room and an office and dedicated spaces for everything. So we're having to actually share. And here's some advice around shared spaces. Things like dining rooms or bedrooms that are being used for work or for work with the children or for play. Think about the following. First of all, assign a time and an activity to that space. So for example, if you're using your dining room for the children's schoolwork, then assign the time and the activity to that, and let that be what that is for. If you're using your bedroom for work because it's the only quiet space you can find, then assign that space for that particular activity. But then when you're finished that assigned activity, make sure you pack everything up. So if the dining room's being used as a workspace or a school space for the children, as soon as you're finished, pack it all up, put it all in a box, and then allow the dining room to return to a dining room space. If you're using your living room as the play area for the children, then pack it all up so that you can have then your shared space in your adult time together. If you're using your bedroom for a workspace, you're making sure that actually you're designing that space around your work so that it's helpful. But then when you've finished your work, everything gets put away and it returns to a bedroom. Don't allow the work or the activity or the shared spaces to bleed in, so that then it starts to blur the spaces for you. And I would really encourage you to think about that if you can. If you've got those dedicated spaces, that's wonderful. If you don't, you need to think about how you're going to manage and maintain the shared spaces so that then it doesn't increase friction or doesn't hurt what you're trying to achieve together as a family. And also think about this. Are there any areas in your house you don't want assigned